Hey guys, welcome. God bless you. This is Pastor Ruby, and we are here for episode number 7. And the title for this episode, Lack of Discipline. What is it costing you? Right? What do I mean when you have lack of discipline that's going to cost you? Easy. Let me start with this example. Think about your New Year resolutions. Lots and lots of people will have New Year resolutions, right? They said, this New Year, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to start in the gym. I'm going to finish that book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do many different things, right? And people plan to do all these things, which is an amazing thing. But what happens? First month, half of those resolutions are forgotten, right? We have not taken not even the first step to actually accomplish what we have set ourselves to do. Some people have actually gone they have gotten the gym membership. Other people have probably said, what can I write my book about? Oh, let me start a podcast. Let me Google, let me do the search, how to start a podcast. Things like that, right? Kind of a sort of a one step. But what happens? Time passes and nothing gets done. So the lack of discipline is costing people many things. It's robbing us from following our dreams. So from pursuing our passions, right? So when I think about the lack of discipline, what has cost me? Probably a lot, actually, right? In the spiritual realm, though, when we think about God and when we think about how is the lack of discipline costing me, lack of discipline in the spiritual world is costing a lot of people so much. God has given us talents. God has given us gift. God has given us so many things for us to work towards, to do something with that. And we know we have something. Sometimes we know we have a calling. We understand that we have purpose in our life. And then we say, I want to do all these things for God. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But nothing happens. And the years go by, and it's just a far kind of away dream that never really takes shape or form in your life. Why? Because we lack discipline. Our God doesn't like that though. God is a God of intention, God of intentionality. And I think there's something that we have to follow. You imagine if Jesus would have come here to this world and he would have not have any discipline? He would say, my Father has sent me here to do this, to save the world, and I have to go and preach, and I have to show them that I'm the Son of God and do what my Father in heaven has sent me to do. Imagine he would just be with a huge lack of discipline. Say, I could do this tomorrow. I may preach tomorrow. Let me start another day. And let me not just go to this place. I get the disciples later. You imagine how much that would have cost the world, the society, us, our salvation, right? So God is a God of intention, and He wants you to do the same thing, to follow. When you want to do something, you have to have intention to do it. You have to be intentional about how you are going to approach what you want to do. Let me tell you something. When I had the idea of doing this podcast, I was like, I want to do this, and I kind of have it sketched out in my head what I wanted it to do, right? And I started kind of playing with a couple of things. But then one day I said, Ruby, you have wasted so much time in so many things. I could have written a book already. I could have done so many things that I had certain type of desire to do. And I said, you know what? This is not going to be the one thing I'm just going to put to the side and not do. I'm going to be intentional. Let me call somebody. Let me get somebody involved. And then I call Yariel, and then I call Isaiah and say, how can we do this? Let me set a date. Let me put it down on my calendar. Let me get what the things that I need. Let me start thinking about different ideas for podcasts. Let me look at different examples. I was intentional. And I started getting a little bit more disciplined about the things that I needed it to do in order for me to accomplish this. So I took the step 1, but then I was already thinking about what is my step 2, my step 3, my step 4, because that way I will keep myself very focused into what I needed it to do. Then you have to think, do you really want it? What is it in your life right now that you have a lot of desire of doing, but it just has become one of those things that you just need to do, but it's not a priority. What is that costing you? And when we think about your relationship with God, I think the most important one, and when lack of discipline is going to cost you the most, hands down, your relationship with God. You know how many times we say, I got to pray more? I got to read the Bible. And we survive with just a couple verses that we know. Everybody knows Psalm 23, right? Or Psalm 91. And we have just a couple little verses that we go by with because of our lack of discipline. You know when the movie, The War Room came up? So many people had had a war room. They actually went ahead, step one, cleaned the closets, made up the space, put a list of petition. Where are those war rooms right now? What happened? Why we stopped? Because we have no discipline. We have an intention, but we are not intentional. And we don't have any accountability. So you create something, you're kind of very excited about it, but because of instant gratification, we had that instant gratification when we got first, we got this new equipment, I started doing this, but then when that starts wearing off, we are not intentional, and we don't have the discipline to continue with what we need to continue, and it fades away. For example, I didn't do a video for the past 2 weeks. I had a lot of things I needed to do. So I'm like, okay, I cannot do it today. Let me do it next week. Let me do this. And then what happened? It was going to be the third week. And I'm like, whoa. Because the lack of discipline will kick in. And then it's like, if you kind of start putting it and let it, not this week. Maybe I do it next week. 2 weeks go by. Well, maybe the third week. He could wait. Not a hurry. And then you get used to it. And with that feeling of getting used to it, when that happens, and that emotion that you had at the beginning kind of wears off, then the lack of discipline will actually kick in strong. And that's where you said, no, I'm gonna film. I have to do this. I have to get back into the mantra of doing things. So my advice to you, and I talk, believe me, truly from experience, right? That I'm talking to you from my heart because it's been one of my biggest problems, right? So many things that I could have accomplished, and my lack of discipline, my procrastination stopped me from achieving a lot of the things that I wanted it to, that I had the desire to. But you know what? It's never too late. So whatever you have in that list, that bucket list sometimes, or kind of like, I have this dream, but it's just like next year, couple of months, I don't know, when the time is right. Time probably will never be right for you to start doing something, So just set up that time and say, I'm going to do it. Do whatever you need to do to make yourself accountable for what you're trying to do. Put it in your calendar, put alarms, write yourself notes, do whatever it takes for you to force yourself to have that discipline. And let me tell you something. Once you start, it becomes a habit, and then it will become a discipline. And I don't want to close this video without the most important reminder that I can give you today. Same thing happens with our relationship with God. You haven't been praying as much as you need to. You haven't been reading the Bible. Every Sunday when you walk out of church, you walk with the intention, with the desire to have a discipline and develop a relationship with God, but it never comes to fruition. It's time to do it. It's time to seriously set up that alarm. Say, I'm going to wake up at this time. Put it in your calendar. Set at this time from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. I'm going to set up the time to study the Bible. Do what you need to do. If you have a spouse, a close friend, anybody who could hold you accountable. Hey, have you been reading what you told me you were going to do? Have you been reading that book that you said you were going to be reading? Whatever it is, try to put whatever things you need to put in place in order for you to become accountable and then to start that discipline. Don't let the lack of discipline rob you for all the things that I have robbed you already. How many things have you lost? How many things, wasted opportunities have come and gone because of your lack of discipline? Don't let that steal anything else anymore. It's your time to put your foot down and to say, you know what? This is not going to cost me anymore. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to become disciplined to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And then especially in your relationship with God. So thank you guys. I hope you love this video. Like, share, subscribe if you have not done so yet. Thank you to all the subscribers. We love you guys and thank you so much. God bless you. See you in the next video.